So some students that we've had over the years struggle to keep going. Getting them started on a novel isn't always so hard, but I found that a lot of times we get students who struggle to keep going.
Hmm. Well, it's that world of the 1930s is foreign to them, and it's foreign to their parents, certainly. They have to go back to grandparents to understand that sort of world. I think one of the important things is to show the kids to have a respect for the characters, not to make fun of them. Steinbeck didn't include Lenny to be made fun of.
Right.
Okay, sure, other characters make fun of him. Okay, but Steinbeck is not making fun of him. When I taught it, that was one of the things I always tried to get them to understand. Okay, Steinbeck respects his characters. Okay, it's a little tough at first. It's not hard to read. It's actually it's an easy to read book. There aren't a lot of huge words. I mean, there are some words they may not understand, but they can look them up.
What I like about it, the portrayal of Lenny is, I found that as you said, he's not a subject of ridicule, and it can be kind of hard to maintain that respect in the classroom because he's an object that kids tend to start to make fun of, but I think he kind of grows when you can curtail that in the beginning. I think Lenny kind of grows on the students, and they really start to enjoy his character a lot and become sympathetic to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they begin to feel for him because immediately, and this is a motif throughout the entire book, George is always telling him how much better his life would be without him. And he, of course, doesn't mean it. He always sticks with him. But, a lot of the kids felt bad for Lenny. They thought, oh, geez, he's always being picked on. And a couple areas where they first meet Curly, the boss's son. I mean, George and Lenny are both immediately threatened. And Lenny is just, in his childlike way, he's just saying, no, I don't like this place. This is a bad place. And kids really connect to that.
I think that bullying aspect really starts to come in when you get Curly coming into the room, into the bunkhouse. I think that really helps to shift kids' opinions about particularly Lenny. He's not really an object to be made fun of anymore. He's someone to definitely feel for, to kind of feel a little sorry for even.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and especially with the scene when everybody's out on the town, and Lenny goes into Crooks's quarters, the African American, and Crooks just plays with his mind, and it's cruel and it's vicious, and the students just felt so badly for Lenny because Crooks was just saying things like, well, what if George leaves you? He could leave you. What's going to happen then? Where are you going to go?
Well, I think what's interesting is even more cruelly, every time I reread the novel, what really catches me is the next step of how Crooks is picking on him, and that's, what if something happens to George? Not that George is going to run off from Lenny, but what's the next step? What if something happens to George? And I think that's a really important moment there, where you really start to feel for Lenny because he heats up, he rises to the defense of George. That really unsettles him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And also, no one understands their relationship except for probably Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody, the boss, is very suspicious of why they hang out together. Perhaps George is taking his money or whatever. But it's this wonderful relationship, and I think kids can relate to that. That no matter what, you're going to stick with your best friend all the way into the end. And the kids, invariably, there'll always be some kids who will cry at the end, and that's great. And I try to foster that environment. You're not going to make fun of the characters, and you're not going to make fun of anybody in the classroom who is upset by this.
Yeah. I think another thing that slows kids down in getting into the novel, in some ways even respecting it, is the language issue. The sort of from the teacher perspective, the horrible grammar, involved, and I think that can be a bit of a challenge too, getting students past some of the terms of the time, like a bindle stiff or whatnot.
Yeah, and there are certain things that are over their head, like when they're talking about the cat house.
Yeah.
When I used to teach that, I would just kind of let that go over their heads.
Right.
They're in 7th grade. I figured, they don't even know that yet. If they bring it up, we'll talk about it. But so, yeah, there are a couple things in there they won't understand, but overall, that's part of the beauty of the book, is that it's easy to read.
Right.
And for most kids, it ends up being one of their favorite novels by the time they finish the book and see how it's structured, and they really enjoy it.